Hey everybody, it's Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and in this video I have a tale to share with you, even a little bit of insight possibly, and if I had to name this tale, I think I would name it, Hang On Steve, this is gonna be a rough ride. Okay, so yesterday after church, my family came home, we had lunch, and then we had some errands to do. We were actually upgrading some phones, and we had to drive all around and blah, 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 blah. That's not the important thing. This is what happened. As I was pulling out of my driveway, I noticed that there was a little spider on the windshield, and being that I don't really care for the arachnid kind of creatures, and my window was open as it was a nice day, I kind of saw this spider and I'm like, well, you know, if I just kind of hit the windshield wiper, I think he'll just get kind of flung off and go back to his spider home. Because who knows why he was there, but he definitely did not belong on the windshield of our van. So I kind of did that and thought he was gone. It looked like he was gone, looked like everybody wins, he didn't get hurt, and I don't have a spider flying into my face as we're driving down the road. Well, day goes on, we had driven into town, probably a good 20 miles, you know, stopping at different spots, and then we had lunch and had to go to the AT&T store. And then I noticed something. As we were out, we had driven about 20 miles. Wait a minute, that spider, which is this guy right here, he was still there. He had hung on, and I kind of looked at him and I was like, well, that's cool, I guess. I mean, way to go, bro. That's, hang in there, bro. And then as we're driving, I'm seeing him, and he's kind of going from the windshield up to around the center of the area between the windshield, and I started actually getting concerned for him. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not cool. I mean, he probably got into our van at our house, and for whatever reason, maybe he's looking for food, but I can guarantee you this. He did not wake up this morning, or yesterday morning rather, and say, you know what? I think I want to go on a 50, 60 mile ride on a windshield and hanging on for my dear life. Well, the one good thing he had going for him is instead of 2 hands to hang on, he had 8 feet things. Anyway, so I start having empathy for this crazy little beast, and I think to myself, I'm like, come on, man, you've made it a long way. And we're driving, and I'm look down, and every once in a while he'll dart down. I'm like, oh no, he flew away, or the wind caught him, and then every so often he'd come back up, he'd be on the windshield wiper. And then I got my family involved. I'm like, hey, you guys see this spider? And everybody's like, yeah. I was like, he's been on the window since before we left. I tried to fling him off, and he apparently didn't get flung off. And he's been hanging on this whole time throughout the course of the whole day, driving, going 60 miles an hour. And I'm like, look at this cool little spider. I can't believe he's doing this. This is awesome. And then we all start having empathy for this spider, and we ended up naming the spider Steve. And so as we're driving, I have to confess, there were a few times when I slowed down, you know, I see a big truck coming, you know, I'm like, oh, that's not going to be a fair one. You know, he's been hanging on so dang long, that's not going to be a fair one. When the wind hits, he's just gone, and then he'll get squished in the road or whatever. And so I did start honestly making some driving decisions, safe driving decisions, mind you, to give little Steve a leg up, to give him a fair shot, if you will. And we all started getting concerned, and I know, it's a weird thing, it's just a spider, but we all started having empathy for this spider, and I nearly pulled over just to try to get him out of there. I didn't do this, but we were all invested. We were all, come on, Steve, hang on, brother, it's gonna be a bumpy ride, but we can do this. And it got me to thinking. By the way, I'll tell you what happened in the end. But it got me to thinking, you know, preparedness is something that we've been talking a lot about on our channel and in our lives, and in even a Bible devotion that I do, we do on another channel. It's called Big Family Devotions. Imagine that. Very original, Brad, right? But we've been talking about preparedness, and not just being prepared spiritually for the stuff that happens in your life, but physically. I can't believe it, but I heard that yesterday, we're smack dab in spring, and it was 80 degrees here in southern Ohio. And I read the news that there was a blizzard in Kansas. I'm like, wait a minute, now, longitude and longitude, whoa, that's not really that far away from us in terms of. And I got to thinking, what keeps people from being prepared? Is it, you think that it's crazy? Well, first of all, let's back up, because the definition of prepared is different things to different people, right? I'm talking about, the what if situations of the world. Let's say that all of a sudden you can't get to the grocery store because there's a blizzard in Kansas in spring. And these things happen, right? Would you be able to go to the shelf and pick some food off the shelf and go on just like normal? Or what if, you don't have a way to heat your house and there's a blizzard, an unexpected blizzard? And while we cannot be prepared, air quotes, for everything that happens in life, one thing's for sure. We can think up a bunch of what if situations that would be universally good to have. For example, and I'm going to get back to Steve in just a minute. So I know the animal lovers out there are going, what happened to Steve? And I will tell you. But the what if situations of the world where we can all universally agree it's probably a good idea to have some water on hand, so that if you go to the faucet and heaven forbid nothing comes out, or say the government, local government says don't drink it because it's got nasty wasty juju in it and you're going to get sick if you drink it. And that happens a lot, guys. Water, maybe having some food on hand, maybe having a way to heat your basic stuff, guys. And I'll tell you what, here we go, soapbox, climbing up on my soapbox. One of the things that is very frustrating to me is when you'll talk to somebody and you'll talk about preparedness and they will just shut off. You can see it happen. The light goes from their eyes and they're now, oh, you're one of them. Yeah, you're crazy. And it frustrates me to no end, because people like that have no problem paying for insurance for their house, insurance for the boat, insurance for the flood, insurance for the this, insurance for the that, insurance for this and that and that and that. And then they'll look at you and when you say you should probably have, a couple weeks worth of food on hand and it's a good idea. And they'll go, oh, you're a prepper. Come on, man. It's insurance. It's the same daggone thing. And I'll add too, as I'm getting higher up on my soapbox, it's preparedness. Learning skills is going to benefit you. Now, I'm not going to get all doom and gloom, and don't forget, we'll get to Steve in just a second. But I'm not going to get all doom and gloom, but I got to tell you what, guys, if you talk to people all around the country, there's unrest. I would say that a lot of people are feeling an urgency, and we don't really know why. We can't really explain why here it is. This is exactly why I feel like something is going to happen, and I don't know what, but it's real, and I can't really explain it, but it's real. I talk to people that have that urgency. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. People that are disconnected all around the globe, guys, and I haven't talked to this buddy in 5 years or 10 years, and I pick up the phone, and this guy who was a computer engineer and never ever had anything to do ever with animals or whatever is now gardening and has chickens and a cow, and you're like, what? You're not the guy that I remember. And this is happening all over the place. People are, I guess the word I would say, or the phrase I would say, is they're getting switched on. It's like a light switch is going off all around and people who are disconnected are getting turned on to the same things in terms of self-reliance and preparedness. And I would encourage you guys, don't let the people that are in your life, the poo-pooers, you're one of those. It's stupid to let them brand you, so don't let them brand you, number one. But two, what is wrong with having skills? What is wrong with knowing how to can food? What's wrong with saving money on your food because you grew it? What's wrong with not having chemicals in your food because you didn't buy it from a box and it can sit there lifeless, dead, gross, chemical laden for years on the shelf without going bad? Ooh. GMO? You don't know what it is? Look into it. It's not good for you. What's wrong with wanting to have that kind of life where I am more engaged with everything I can be in terms of food, putting up some water, making sure that there's heat sources, all those things, learning skills, right? My encouragement to you guys is make a plan. Sit down and honestly just get a piece of paper, write it down, just say, you know what, okay, if heaven forbid, if a tornado came through and half our house got torn up and the town is not in good shape and the food supply stops, would I be able to feed my family? Go down the list. Think about it. These things happen. And it doesn't have to be something that's that drastic or crazy or tragic. What if you lost your job? You know? What if it's to the point where you can't feed your family? You know, there's a saying, make hay while the sun shines, right? Well, why? Because it could rain tomorrow. And if you know anything about hay, you cut it and then you got to let it sit out and it's got to dry. Because if you bundle it up right then, you're going to get it moldy. It's going to be bad. You will waste all of your effort. So you have a limited time that you're going to store away something that's going to be beneficial for you and your family and your animals and yada yada yippee skippy. So there's the encouragement, and I'm going to get back to Steve here in just a minute. Well, no, right now. So we're all engaged, guys. Steve is there, and we're like, come on, man. And everybody keeps looking, and we're getting nervous because he keeps darting down, and you can't see him. And then all of a sudden, we're there. We turn onto our road and we pull in and Steve's gone. Oh my gosh. And then we get out of the car and I'm looking around and, oh, wonder of wonders and miracle of miracles. He finally darted back out, came up on the windshield, and Steve, who is what do they call him? A white spotted jumping spider, jumped off the car out into the grassy wilderness to be with his family or whatever. And the point is this, guys. Steve probably did not wake up in the morning and go, you know what? I think it's a good idea for me to go, 40, 50, 60 miles, 60 miles an hour hanging on for dear life. But those things in our lives, those car rides that are unexpected, the crazy things that happen, they happen. And so if we can take time now to try to just do something to get those what if situations in our lives a little more prepared, why wouldn't we? Do you really want to be hanging on with all 8 of your arachnid feet flying 60 miles an hour without a way to save yourself? I don't. So for those of you who do, that's really, really weird. Yeah, arachnid feet. No. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this thought, because that's what it is. And it's an encouragement, guys. I really want you to take a moment and sit down and just say, hey, where am I at with this? What could I do? Could I do more preparedness? Check into it for yourself, because I do believe it's going to be beneficial. And I do believe, unfortunately, we're not headed for a good spot in our society. So please put your thoughts and comments down below. What do you think? Poor Steve. Anyway, do appreciate, really do appreciate when you share the videos and when you subscribe. That really does help our family out. So I'm Brad, Big Family Homestead. You guys have an amazing day.